Well, welcome to Season 3, Episode 13 of the Me and ADHD podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking to a truly inspiring artist who has made the decision to take his art to the masses in a very novel way, but for a very, very good reason. So I'm excited to welcome oil painter, videographer, podcaster, fellow ADHDer, and mental health activist, Graham Cullis. Good morning. How you doing? You okay?
Very well, thank you. Not just oil paints, actually. Like I'm all mediums now. Like I started off with oil paints, but I'm having to do acrylics because I'm on the road, and I'm actually loving it. I hated acrylics at first, but I absolutely love it now, and I don't think I'm too bad.
No, awesome. That's all right. I've been looking at your artwork, and it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you, man. It is. It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? I'm an incredible artist. Watch this space, people. Graham Cullis is going to be a big deal this year, so you need to invest right now.
Absolutely. I'll put all the links on that at the on the podcast anyway, so people can go and have a look. But it's amazing work. Fair play to you, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that. It's a gift from God.
It's definitely a gift. I tell you. I'm not massively into a lot of painting, like abstract and things like that. I like to see what it's meant to be, kind of thing. And I see a lot of your stuff is it's kind of a bit of a combination. And I don't know anything about art, so forgive me if I'm just talking rubbish, but it really draws you in.
You know a thing or two.
Well, I try. But my medium's photography, so I do that.
Exactly,
I do black
you're an
and white
artist.
sort of. Yes, I am, but not as good as you. Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of looking at your social media.
Hey, wait, let's flip the script on that one, because saying you're not as good as me is totally subjective. Because someone could look at your photographs and just think, wow, how did you capture that? I could never do that, But it's so yeah.
Yes,
I don't think art is something that you can scale or you can compare. It's you're a great artist in your own right. And yeah, I think it all needs to be respected, whatever you create.
Do you know what? I should speak to you more often.
So start saying, I am a good artist.
I am a good artist.
There we go.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Amazing.
Yes, I am.
Feels good, hey?
It does. But I've been looking at your stuff, and it's been absolutely great. And I've been seeing that the videos you've been putting on social media, and you've been out and about and bringing joy to everybody and everything. And it's amazing to sort of watch and see what you're doing. But let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning, I guess. What's right from the start, I guess. When were you diagnosed? Let's start with that.
Okay, so I'm one of your. I listened to one of your episodes, and you're talking about how you speak to people that are diagnosed and undiagnosed. I'm an undiagnosed ADHDer,
Cool.
self-diagnosed, which I didn't go down the route of trying to get diagnosed to get the medication, because I just don't feel like it's something that I need to pursue. But I didn't really know much about neurodivergence, really, other than all the classic films you watch, like Rain Man or something like that, and then you have all these stereotypes in your head. And when I started working for or when I started up Youth Art Connect, shortly after I discovered I could paint. Youth Art Connect is a CIC that I started up with my friend Kate, who's a therapist. We did a pilot event, and we invited a bunch of people that were during the pandemic, or young kids, from about 11 to 18. That was it. We held a monthly youth club, or we did a pilot, and then came along, and literally the whole spectrum was there in that room. And I was like, how is this going to play out? And it was amazing. It was so good. And I felt also like with these kids and the adults that came to help, I'd found my people. And then I in that session, I met the director or is now the director of the Youth Art Connect CIC that I started, I brought her in with my other friend Siobhan, and she's autistic. But I didn't know like that she was autistic until after we had a little meeting together. And she basically, we were talking about all the businesses she's done, rah, 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 and like why she wanted to get involved with the CIC. And then she said, "Oh yeah, because of my autism." And I was like, "Excuse me, what? Your autism? Like you go, yeah, yeah, I'm autistic." And I'm like, "What?" And then she explained to me like the spectrum of things,
Yeah.
and like like obviously there's people that are fairly quite debilitated in a world that's not set up for them, and there are people that can mask, and I learned on that moment, and it kind of overwhelmed me a little bit, and I was a little bit upset with myself that I didn't know this. And but yeah, and then after working with her for a few years, and then meeting her now husband, who is a diagnosis, or used to do it as a clinician to diagnose people, they ran a couple of tests with me in the house, and yeah, there was no surprise there really that I'm fully on the ADHD spectrum. But yeah, so that's how I found out that yeah, about my personality type, I like to call it.
Okay, that's good. I just want to ask you a quick question. I think it's really important to talk about this. You said you don't want to get diagnosed officially because you don't want to go down the medication route. That's not what you want to do. I think that's great.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, go on, carry on. Sorry.
No. I think that's it's a good thing because there's a lot of stuff out there saying about people getting diagnosed because they want to have the meds, they want to have access to these strong medication, and I just think that's
Mm,
wrong. And it's nice to talk to people who um, are ADHD but don't want to go down that route at all.
mm,
So it's nice to hear that. Is there any particular
mm.
reason why you didn't want to do that sort of medication?
I mean, like, I just don't. I just was. I just. Yeah, I don't feel like I need to change anything. I quite enjoy swanning my way through life the way I am, no matter how many people it pisses off, no matter how many people love me, like, so I don't feel like I needed anything like that. But obviously, like, I know that's not for everyone, and some people would really benefit from it. And yeah, like, also, I the only reason I'd get diagnosed is just to I don't know, just to understand myself a little bit more and find out even what other traits that I have within my personality. I like to call it a personality trait. Like, it is who I am. A lot of people say the language they say with like neurodivergence, they say I've got ADHD, I've got autism. Well, actually, like, you should stop saying I've got, because that's like a disease. You haven't got it. You can't catch it. It's who you are. So I am ADHD, or someone could say I am autistic rather than saying I have this. You know, yeah, that's something that I kind of have been learning through listening to different people's opinions and stories, and uh, yeah, like that's what I've come to myself as well. Is that I like to say that I am ADHD.
No, that's
I love it.
exactly what I say as well. I am ADHD. I think everyone's got their own journey and self discovery sort of journey and working things out for themselves. But I just kind of you do hear the people saying, just it's not who I am. It's just I've got ADHD, but there's this other side of me, and I'm like, okay. But I think ADHD kind of affects everything that's your personality. You know what I mean? So I think, well, I can't separate it. I can't understand how it could be separated.
Yeah,
So for myself, I'm like, yeah, everything about me is ADHD. But anyway,
yeah,
we're all on our own journeys and all that. And it's nice. It's
yeah,
nice to have a kind of a fresh view on, you know, um, on it and the medication side as well, because it's good. Because it's not for everyone, and you know, if you don't need it, don't have it. Absolutely, you know.
yeah.
Um.
I just
So
chill out with a coffee every now and then
there
instead.
you go. Oh, fair play to you, mate. Hey, if you're happy with life and happy how things are going and you're doing what you're doing, yeah, why change? You know what I mean? Why? So no, no, good for you. Um, so do you see a lot of it in you? Have you worked things out yet? Have you got to that stage where you go, right, okay, this is, oh wow, yeah, this is very much your stereotypical ADHD kind of persona, this bit you're very outgoing, outspoken, don't
Well, I'll tell
shut
you what.
up, or
Yeah, well, when I had that self-diagnosis revelation, I became even more ADHD, I think, because I gave myself permission to be myself even more. You know, like I was like, I realized that I relaxed into my personality a bit more after that. I think I became a bit more intense for some people, because I was like, yeah, fuck it, like I am who I am, and like, and I did realize that I did used to like tame myself down a little bit or mask a little bit, but yeah, like yeah, it gave me permission to be myself even more.
yeah, that's one sort, I guess, one thing that people get to in their life in certain. I don't know. I mean, it took me about a year after my diagnosis to do that. So I was kind of like all these things I used to sort of mask, and it's about chipping away at the mask and getting rid of the mask as much as possible, and not
Mm.
not sucking it up, all the stuff you go through and all the struggles. And I get very sort of overwhelmed, and I have a lot of sensory sort of issues, I guess. Um, so beforehand, I used to like hold it in and just deal with it, and I used to be very grumpy when those things happen, and struggle to communicate in a nice way. So now it's a case of no, I am overstimulated. This is what I need to do. This is what's happening.
Yeah,
I don't care. I need to have peace. I need to get away. I need to put my headphones on. I need to, you know, um, so it all comes out. So I talk a lot more about the ADHD and my ADHD, what I'm going through now, because, well, I know what it is now. So, and I know how to
mm.
deal with it. So and if it's a struggle, fine, you need to sort that out. And if it's something that's just, you love him, be it your personality wise, you're outspoken and all that. I mean, why, if you're not hurting anybody, why hold it in? If it's you and it brings you
Exactly.
joy, and you're expressing yourself, you go for it. I was speaking to someone the other day, and she said about she feels she's not ADHD or neurodivergent as far as I'm aware, but she says sometimes she thinks she's a bit much for people because she does certain things,
Yeah.
and I'm like, don't hold it in.
Oh, I totally
Be
resonate with
be
that.
yourself.
Like, yeah, I totally resonate with that. I often feel like I'm too much for people, and yeah. Well, then when I realized and found out that I am on the ADHD spectrum, it made me look back in my life and forgive myself for the times where I thought I'd been too much for some people, and actually like it's yeah, like, and I still get that. And I can recognize it now. I recognize that I am still too much for people, but I also recognize the fact that when I am being too much for people, that person on the other end that's finding me too much has also got their own problems and their issues, or not problems, or maybe stuff that they haven't figured out for themselves.
Yeah,
So I've become a lot more forgiving of the way people treat me as well, because of the fact that I now know who I am. So yeah, like and if people find me too much, and then I can give them a little bit more an inch, that makes
yeah.
sense.
No, that's a good way to look at it, because everyone's got a story. You just don't know it yet unless you have
Yeah,
that time to
yeah,
talk with them and get to know them. Um, but
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, just you cut people a bit of slack, because you know this about yourself. You know that maybe you can be loud, or maybe you don't talk a lot, or
mm,
you're very active. You always want to go, and they're not, and it doesn't always sort of work for the both of you. But it's okay. What you don't want is
yeah,
people giving you a hard time over it, and the bullying aspects and putting you
yeah,
down. But
yeah.
it's
Well,
it's
I was
it's a
also
complicated.
it came into my mind the other day, like when I sort of I've been reflecting on past relationships, and like romantically or with just friends that have like maybe have like not gone the way that I hoped, or I might have fallen out with someone. and it's also it's helped me have more compassion for that situation and that person, and then thinking, oh, wonder what is going on there. I think that person is totally on the spectrum of something, and that's maybe why we clash, because I didn't understand them. And so like I would like to like eventually cross paths with all these people again and give them a hug.
Well, it's true. You do start
Within their
once you kind
boundaries.
of, yeah, well, yeah, you do when you go
Give me a
down that
hug.
yes now, um, but you do start to look at things differently. Once you kind of like realize what's going on in your own sort of head, you do start looking at things differently, and people differently as well.
Mm.
And like you say, you give yourself some slack, from past life and
Hmm.
things you maybe I shouldn't have done it that way or this way, or I should have
Yeah.
done more or less, or ah, this is the reason why. Okay, now we understand. Um, but yeah,
Mm.
it's if we all had a bit more, I guess, respect for each other and just a little bit of understanding, like I say, everyone has a
Mm.
story. You just don't know it until you sort of get to know that person.
Yeah.
But okay, so with your art, was that how did the art come around? 'Cause the reason why I
All
asked this
right.
question is because I mean some people are just sort of natural artists who then they will do it through school, and then it's part of their art lessons at school, and they worked it out. Oh, I'm quite good at this. And sometimes it's a case of it's just by accident. They've got no one else around them. They're all alone, so they're trying to do something to make themselves happy, and then realize that actually they're good at things, or they want to
Yeah.
express themselves some way because they're feeling so low and down about themselves, and they can't do it to other people, so they do it in a more be it on paper or canvas or photography or whatever it is, building things. They express themselves that way. So how did
Mm.
your art come around?
Well, I mean, I've always been fairly creative since I was a little boy. I remember one of my first earliest memories of like me wowing myself with a piece of art was, I think I was like 7 or something. I was in a caravan in Devon with my family, and we were doing still life watercolors. I don't touch watercolors now. I'm afraid of them. I'm afraid to try. But like I know I'd be pretty good at it though if I did. But I was I literally I remember seeing this image of the fruit bowl that I did, and for a 7 year old, and I can still remember now, it was blooming awesome. And like I wish my mum had kept it. I think she's got a photo of it somewhere. But yeah, like so that was one of the first memories that I remember when me like being in the zone and just sitting around the table and we're doing a still life of a fruit bowl, and I was like, wow. But then like always in school, I used to be like I used to draw with my best mate Anthony. We used to do like we would be the arty ones. We would draw like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Simpsons characters, and I used to love drawing. Um, and I also love music as well. And when I got to like secondary school, and we were having to do our choices for what we wanted to take on for GCSEs, we weren't allowed to take 2 creative subjects. So I chose music because music was my passion, my life, and I went down that route for years as well. I was in bands, played in, had a little bit of success in one band, and played gigs all around the country, festivals, and but like we weren't allowed to take 2 subjects, so we couldn't take 2 creative subjects, which is bonkers. I don't understand why that was the case. Like I don't know what it is now. I think it's probably even worse now. I think they're really like it's really the arts in school is really struggling.
Yeah.
But like I had to choose music over art, and I remember I was okay in art, but it wasn't until later on, recently, like only in 2020, that glorious year where a lot of us found our gifts and our passions,
Yeah.
the pandemic year, in case you've forgotten. Um, yeah, so I was in Bali, and I went on a date with a Russian art teacher. I got introduced to this Russian art teacher, and we went for coffee together. And then she's like, "You have to come to my art class." I'm not going to try and do a Russian accent. And then she and I was like, I can't really say no because it'd be kind of rude. I kind of wanted to as well, you know. And then I went to this class, and she had held a class in a villa. It was oil painting. We all sat around a table. She instructed us to choose something that we could paint, like a painting that we could copy. So, because that's a good way of learning a new art medium. That's what I'm doing with
Okay.
acrylics right now. Actually, like I'm copying acrylic paintings to get the style of the brush strokes and how to work them. But yeah, so I did that in a class, and and literally like I copied the thing exactly to a T, and everyone was like, "What is going on? Have you done this before?" And I'm like, no, she just told me to copy it." I thought it was obvious. And then yeah, they were like, "Okay, you got a talent here." And then I did another class with her, and yeah, then I was like, "Wow, okay." I did a picture of this eye, and I was like really amazed by myself, and everyone else was, and she was, and yeah, and then she friend zoned me. But you know, it's all good. It's all good. She became my teacher instead. But yeah, and then I just went on a journey after that. Like I was going through a bit of like, I don't know, like a midlife crisis, I guess. I was going through like an existential crisis where I was like, what am I doing with my life? I was out in Bali working a remote job, which wasn't really bringing me joy. And I was working ridiculous hours on the other side of the world for a UK company, and other things were creeping in. And like my mental health was starting to hit. The pandemic was getting worse. So like the business side of things was really failing in that business that I was working for. So it was like worrying if I was going to keep my job. And but yeah, and other personal things I won't go into, like was weighing on my mind. And yeah, I literally pretty much almost had a breakdown, and I had to take a sabbatical from my job. But during that time, like, because I knew I had to come home as well, because work was calling
Yeah.
me home, and we couldn't get flights. It was really hard at that time. And everyone's thinking, "Oh, boo-hoo, Graham, you're in Bali in the pandemic. It must have been so hard. Why are you so sad?" But you know, like depression is valid anywhere. Like, it can happen
Yeah.
anywhere. And yeah, and I just knew I needed to come home. But I stopped seeing my friends. I stopped surfing as well, which is like something that I love doing. And like, yeah, I just was not doing anything. But I had this new talent, this new skill to try. And so I just consumed my day, my hours of normally what I would do if I was depressed. I'd be like moping in my bed and depressed, and time would go on for hours. So instead, I decided that I would paint my way out of this hole, and I started listening to music again, because I music had gone away as well over the years. Like I'd even like, all my creativity had kind of like gone by the wayside at this point. Um, so I started listening to music again. I started playing my ukulele. I started video editing, making video blogs about my experience of me painting and it helping me. And then Instagram started to get more numbers. People were watching my YouTubes a bit more. And then I was like, oh, there's something in this, you know. And then I was really inspired at that point by a podcaster called The Blind. Oh, I still am. I listen to him every week. It's Blind Boy Podcast, and um, I talk about him on every podcast interview that I have. But yeah, he had a podcast, and I used to listen to it, and he used to talk about his Patreon, where people could support him monthly. And I was like, oh, maybe
Yeah.
people that are resonating with me might want to help me on my journey to be an advocate for mental health. If I give out some content or some physical products, maybe they'll support me. And when I came home from Bali, I worked my job for a while. I was working ridiculous amounts of hours like on this job, and then finishing work, going to my studio, painting, because commissions were coming in now, because people were like, wow, you can paint. So I was starting to make money from doing paintings. But I
Yeah.
was also video blogging everything. And on the weekends, I was going to people that are in the mental health space and making interviews with them with my YouTube channel. And then on Sunday, editing everything. And then the work week would start again. And I literally was burning out at that point.
Yeah.
But then when I dropped my Patreon, when I was like, I sort of dropped it slowly. People started to support me just because of the message. But then I dropped, um, it was called the Karma Card Project, where I would give 12 of my art prints as gift cards to the subscribers who would, pay me a monthly, a fiver or whatever. That's like £60 over the year. But every year I would give them 12 art prints, gift cards of my art prints. And the idea is that you keep the ones you like and you send the rest on as little letters of love to people. And it was a calendar system. So you'd have one
Ah,
for every
okay.
month that you could like take off and then write a letter, send it to someone, not for birthdays, not for Christmas or anything like that, just literally to bless someone and make someone feel seen and congratulate them or whatever, but not for any commercial reasons, just out of the blue love. And that took
That's a
off,
really
and
good idea.
almost my wage I got almost my wage back in monthly income. So that gave me time and space to become the artist I am now. um, Over the years, that has kind of come away since we've come out of COVID, and all the wars happening with the cost of living crisis. People can't afford the subscriptions anymore, and I stopped giving out the physical product because it was quite a lot of work on all the other stuff that I was doing. But like in that time, I was able to set up Youth Art Connect, the introducing the therapeutic benefits of art for people, my CIC. I started a couple of sea swimming groups, one in my hometown, one in New York called the New York Dippers Club, which is now still going, and it got in the New York Times as well. My name got in the New York Times, which is quite interesting.
Awesome.
And then and then like now, and just been like using my platform for good, to help people as much as possible. Like I've been doing all sorts of projects in Bali as well, like helping with causes with orphanages and local businesses that might have been failing during the pandemic. I helped as well, and I had time and space to do that, to be a seed planter or a hero, I guess. And yeah, and like now, like it's led me onto this chapter where I'm back from Bali now. Like I've been going to and fro since yeah, I've always been going backwards and forwards to Bali, but now I'm back in England to run this tour around the whole country to offer people all of these holistic things: arts, creativity, sea swimming, meditation, which is something that's come into my life this year, which has really helped my ADHD or my personality. But that's another long story. I'm sure we can go into it if you want to, but I'll let you speak now.
No, it's great. It's fascinating. It's again, it's learning about your story, learning about your journey and how things come about. And it's a hell of a story. When with your
Yeah.
art, what is there a particular style that you enjoy the most? Because I know sometimes what you enjoy the most isn't what you do the most. Because you've got what brings in the money and the joy for other people, and then you got something that possibly bring you joy yourself.
I've
Or is it all the same?
I've always held true to the fact that I'll only paint something that gives me joy. Um, so literally, like when I first started, it was the commissions that came with a lot of imposter syndrome on my end, and I'm like, oh, so this is how it started. People will ask for commissions, and I'm like, okay, can you do my family portrait or can you do my dog? I'm like, no, I don't want that pressure. I just want to let me just paint something that I think I'll use my intuition that I think you would love, and it's something that I want to paint, and it'll be a surprise. I used to call it a surprise commission. That's what it turned into anyway. Um, and then that meant they got the best out of me as an artist, and then they also got something that was really like thoughtful and intuitive. So I would like look through their social medias or ask their friends and families a little bits about them to try and find things that I could paint that would give them some joy.
Oh,
And then people started booking me for that, because they would have the experience of me choosing like or not knowing what I'm gonna paint, and then they'll see the drawing, they'll see the first part of the layer, and then I'll put it on my stories on my social media, and they would follow along. I would tag them in, and then they would tag their friends, and then their friends would be like, "What the hell is this artist guy on your profile every day doing? Like he's creating." I said, "Yeah, I'm doing a surprise commission," and then they would message me, and then I would get more work that way as well. So I've always stayed true to of only wanting to paint what I want, and even down to some collectors that have come my way. They work with me in a collaborative way. I will only paint. We will come to an agreement It's not like you're going to paint this. Okay, I'm like, nah. I've turned down so much work because I'm not going to paint someone's family portrait. I'm not going to paint someone's dog. I'm not going to paint someone's horse. I'm gonna paint what I want, and people, and then naturally the collectors that have drawn to me are now starting to find my work and are getting me for me. Um, and then yeah, now I've got my new style of art coming in now, which you can see behind me, which is very community led as well, because I want to give everyone an experience now of my art. But we can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. It rolls on quite nicely to sort of the next part, really, about the mental health
Mm,
aspects of the art and what you do, you traveling around the country and everything. Um, but
mm.
what does it do for you? Do you find that the art helps with your mental health? I mean, what you've been going through, is that
Oh,
a place that you go to?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. But also, do you know what? It's like a double-edged sword sometimes. Like, um, there was a moment in Bali last year where I realized that I was painting in my bedroom by myself, and I was doing all the marketing by myself, creating my podcasts as well, and all my content and my meditations. Oh no, actually, no, the meditations came later. Actually, that wasn't part of it. The meditations helped. Sorry, yeah. But yeah, so I was like alone a lot. And although like this thing that helped me initially for my mental health became my job, then also started to isolate me, and then like my mental health was out of balance that way. I was like having too much of a good thing, I guess, by myself, and I realized that it was affecting me in social situations. So I knew that something needed to change. And just before like I made my big change, I discovered meditation, and that sent me on a journey. And yeah, and at the same time I realized I needed to get out of my studio. And I um a long story short, I went out painting out. I went up north and painted a mural outside, connected with a load of people, realized like showing my art and my face in real time to people was so important for connections. And brought me so much joy, and it led me on to wanting to collaborate and help others discover more of the joy of art as well. So I eventually had a residency in this beautiful garden in Bali, where I said, look, can I just sit here and bring two easels, and your guests that come to your cafe can come and paint if they want for free. And yeah, so every day I would have a new person come and paint with me while I was doing my commissions. So I was, and and then people were coming up in a connect, and like I had a queue of people on my social medias like messaging me saying, can I come tomorrow? I said, no, I've got two people already, like, because otherwise at one point I went too much. I was like, okay, I had like five people come to paint with me, and I was like, then it became a class and it wasn't doing what it needed to be for me. But yeah, and then I'm trying to think where I'm going now. I was like, there's so many layers to this. But yeah, so that's when it started to help my mental health again. And then also like I discovered meditation, and I during this time, and that completely changed the game for me. Um, yeah, it also helped me understand how much meditation I'm doing when I'm painting as well. Um,
yeah,
yeah, there we go.
it is. It's one of those things that can do so much in so many ways. I mean, the reason why I asked the question about how you got into the art is because with my photography, they keep saying, I keep on hearing all the time that people who are ADHD are very sort of artistic and and
Mm,
imaginative in what they do. And now, is that actually a part of the ADHD, having ADHD, as in, is that a medical aspect of it, or is it life with ADHD? And I've come to the conclusion, and I could be wrong, obviously, it's about the life with ADHD. Now, I started off
mm,
photography purely and utterly, never had a camera before, and I, very stereotypical ADHD, moved around jobs, and I moved to the other side of the country, and I knew no one there. And it was over in Gloucestershire, and I was just rolling hills. I saw some beautiful sunsets, and I thought, these sunsets are really nice. and I wouldn't mind, maybe taking some photos of them because it look really nice. So I brought myself a camera, my first ever camera, and I was like, oh, I quite like the look of these, and that was because I was just on my own because of the impulsivity
Mm.
of just getting the new jobs and going around, and I just happened to be somewhere that I didn't know anybody for 100 odd miles, that I had to
Mm.
entertain myself and try and make myself feel a bit better because I was a little bit lonely, and
Mm.
yeah, it started from there and then it just progressed, and like you say, photography. Most of the time I'm on my own doing it, but it has saved
Mm.
me quite a few times. It is my go-to. I
Mm-hmm.
need to get out with the camera. I need to go and do this with the camera. I need to, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so it plays a big part. But if I
Yeah.
never moved to that side of the country, I wouldn't be a photographer. So it was just one of
Well,
those. It
there
was
we go.
so it was this circumstances at the time just got me into it. But it's like you say, it's an amazing thing. And when what you're doing and getting other people to join you at the same time, I mean, that wouldn't even occur for me to do that. But that's an amazing thing to do, and have people come in
Well, you
and just do a
could.
little bit of painting
Have
when
you ever
you're there
thought of
as well.
taking
It's
someone up
brilliant.
on the hills? Have you ever thought of
I
taking
have,
someone up on the rolling hills?
well, I'm not over there anymore now, but yeah, I mean, I do. Occasionally, we
Where are
do
you
get
now?
together. I'm in Oxfordshire, so
Oh yeah,
and I do, right,
there's
yeah,
lots of
so I
nice
do.
countryside.
It is, but I do edible wildlife photography. So I do sort of birds in flight. I do in color, but my main love I found out is black and white portrait shots of animals, and I do a lot of primates. So I go to a lot of different sort of zoos, and I do a lot of primates, and I love that, how it feels, how it
Hmm.
looks, how this is a creation that I've made, and it brings me joy, and I love doing it. I love editing it as well, which is weird.
Well,
So
that's the
it's
artistic part, isn't it? The editing. People don't realize what goes into a photograph. Like there's so much. Like editing is like painting
yeah,
in
you
a way.
you put
Like
your own little
I've always
style on it
found
and
when I
tweak it and
edit my
everything.
videos. Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, editing photos for me doesn't kind of like roll over to editing videos. I'm not. I can't edit videos. Very basic. um. Okay, so how do you think the ADHD and I guess the art has like shaped where you're going? Has it been sort of hand in hand, or is it just completely separate? You just like art and that's it?
I mean, like I said at the beginning, like I found out that I was ADHD and it didn't really change anything to me. I was going in that direction anyway. If I hadn't have found out or I think I'd still be on this same journey, but I might be a little bit more impatient, you know. Um, so I guess in the sense it's like it's for my journey. It's helped me be patient with people and myself, and you know, yeah. That's basically it, really. Like I needed to find out who I am, and I've done it now. I'm going in a trajectory, no matter what. So, but like I said, the self awareness has definitely helped the journey.
Yeah, that's people don't understand how much that is just needed. That self awareness is just
Mm.
kind of everything. I guess to know, what it is all about, and put things in place where you need it, and just
Mm.
know yourself and be okay with yourself. That's a big
Yeah.
thing. So with your, because you're doing the journey at the moment, going around the country. Tell us about that, because what I see
Yes.
on your social media is just amazing. What you're doing, what
Thank
I'm
you.
seeing, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm I'm on a project called the Splat and Splash Standing Against Loneliness tour. I don't know if you're going to be flipping this round to be not backwards in the video, um, but yeah. So I am on a journey where it's going to take me 4 months. I started a couple of weeks ago in Land's End, and I'm traveling around the country clockwise, a beach every 4 days, hopefully. But have a feeling that it might take a little bit longer than that, because of just like acts of God, weather, and
Yeah.
unforeseeable events and mechanics. But yeah, that's all part of the story, part of the journey, because I've just arrived to my 4th destination, Weston-super-Mare. That's where I am now. And I kind of realized that like I need to probably take stock for a couple of days and catch up with everything, so I'm on a roll again, because it's so fast paced. What I'm doing, I tried to move to a beach every 4 days, which includes me running these gatherings and creating the content, talking to the next town about futuring the event, talking to the press, making press releases, all that. So yeah, basically
That's a
it's
lot.
called Standing Against Loneliness. And the idea is that I go to a beach town and every 4 days to help people within that community discover communities of their own, that were available to them. That they didn't know, or that what they didn't know was available to them. So I connect with sea swimming groups, I connect with local charities, and I bring them together on the beach for a gathering. And what I do is, when people find out about it, because they're secret as well, I don't tell anyone about the locations until like literally 2 days before. So I get to a town, I scout it out, I find out where I'm going to do it, because I also need to consider weather, because a part of it I can't be wet because it involves 120 silent disco meditation or silent disco headsets for a meditation. So
Okay. Yeah.
everyone shows up, we have the meet and greet, we do the meditation, which is on my podcast. I play one of my podcast meditations to them, so it helps promote that as well. But it's a beautiful moment where I can witness people enjoying my guided meditation in front of me, and I get to do it with them as well. It's just so beautiful, and I explain before and after what it means to me, and that gives them, that people that have never tried meditation before, a chance to do that. So the people that are lonely, also struggling with their mental health, get to try some things for their mental health as well. So that's the first part. And then during that time and just before, we're all splatting the canvas. So if you look at this painting here, for the listeners that can't see, what I do is I get the community to splat a blank canvas, so it looks crazy. I give them a load of splat. They're only allowed to splat. That's the only direction I give them. They're not allowed to paint, because I learned that on the first one, or the first pilot event. When you start giving them paintbrushes, it turns into brown mud. So I was like, no, just splat it, because that keeps the colors on it and it's vibrant. And then I find something from the event or the town that becomes my muse, and I paint something over the top of it. And that means that each of the 30 towns will have an individual piece, which I then sell for £1,000 each, and all of that money is going to Youth Art Connect. And I've already sold one from Eastbourne that hasn't even been created yet. Someone just wanted to become the patron, and she says she wants to buy another one. She's waiting for me to paint the certain animal that she's after. Someone else is after one, and it looks like there's one that's being sold in New York, going to New York. So I'm on course to raise about
Amazing.
30 to 50 grand altogether over this tour, with extras other than the art, the paintings themselves, because I'm going to be doing reproductions as well. But yeah, so that's the art side of it. And then we go into an ecstatic dance flow, where I let everyone have an experience of just doing like sober raving. I'll have a DJ set produced on my phone, and I've got the microphone, and I guide them through a very meditative sort of like dance that takes you for a journey into like bangers, singing along to ABBA or whatever, and then like bringing you down again, and then ending in this beautiful embrace of people where we're all together holding space. And everyone's loving that. A lot of people are crying afterwards. They're emotional. And then after that, we do the content part, which everyone thinks is a bit weird, but I don't know. On this, for the listeners back home, I'm showing a flyer as a picture of me covered in paint, and a lot of um, uh, um, events I've done in the past where people throw paint over me. It's funny, it's good for content, it looks stupid. And yeah, just it's just like a moment for people to be kids, and even myself, like people are pouring it in my mouth or whatever. But I can't do that at the beach because otherwise I'll get in trouble, because cause we also go in for a sea swim afterwards, and if I'm covered in paint going into the ocean, the only thing that the press is going to catch on to is, oh, this artist is doing something for mental health, but he's also polluting the ocean. So naturally I thought, oh, okay, let's choose something edible, and then ketchup, mayonnaise and mustard is my medium of choice for me to be covered in paint. So it's so basically, like, it's a performance art piece, which if you were to scroll on Instagram or TikTok, this is like the engagement thing, the 3-second rule. It takes 3 seconds someone's attention before they swipe away. If you've got a fully grown man getting covered in ketchup, mayonnaise and mustard, you're gonna want to stop to see what that's about. So it serves for that purpose as well, and that's why it's called the Splat and Splash. I get splattered, and then we go for a swim with a local sea swimming group, the splash afterwards, splat in the art. And so basically I'm going to be doing that one every 4 days for 4 months, and I'll be finishing in January, for a huge end of tour show in Newquay, where I'm going to do a massive festival. I'm going to hire a huge, great big marquee, so we're definitely covered from the rain, but I want to have record numbers from the tour in there doing the meditation. I want other practitioners and yoga instructors and gong baths. I want live music, and just have like a proper fully fledged event at the end, because these aren't events, by the way, they're gatherings. They're not events, okay? Strictly, they are not events, they are just gatherings. But the last one will be an event, and everything will be in place. But so that's basically the long and short of what I'm doing, and that's why it's so much work, because in between each event, like I say, I finish the event, then I have to decamp because my van is a state after getting everything from the beach back in. Then I either drive that night to the next town, or I drive like 6 a.m. to the next town, and then it all starts again. But then I have to create the content for Instagram, Facebook and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. I have to finish the painting as well, and then create content on that, and then post that. I have to do press releases and my newsletter, and also I have to talk to the next community and start promoting across various Facebook groups, Instagram, whatever, how I can shout, to get the message out there that I'm there, so I can get people to the event. So doing this podcast is definitely putting me back an hour, but I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, that's a lot, mate. That's seriously, that's a lot of
work.
But
this is part of it, like I need to tell people what I'm doing so people know what's going on. So like it's like I've got a couple other appointments I've got to do today as well. Like I've got to get hold of one of the charities and have a talk with them. I think someone literally just called me. I think that might have been them. And then like I've got to finish the edit before tonight, and then I've got to go and scout a location. Oh, I've got this. But like I was saying, I've come to Weston-super-Mare, and I think I realize I need to take stock, and I need to remember that I am the boss. Like, it's only me creating this drama and intense workload for myself. I can say, hey, Graham, take a day off, or take an extra day to do your stuff, so you're not doing it all at once. And like I realized that as well, like it's a lot of work.
So what? That's going to be finishing in January.
And
so
definitely, I think ADHD is a superpower in this moment as well, because I feel like my ADHD helps me do all of this. I'm running 19 WhatsApp chats at the moment. 19 in a community.
19.
So I'm talking to Cornwall, Devon, Somerset. I've got one for different parts of Scotland. I've got one for Wales. I've got one for different towns along the East Coast. I've got Sussex. Like literally, like everyone that engages with my content. says they love what I'm doing, I'm like, hey, send me a WhatsApp message. I'd love to chat to you. So I'm messaging everyone back as well. Like I'm trying my hardest to stay on the communications as much as possible. So if anyone is listening to this and is like some kind of manager, artist manager, and wants to be my manager and go 10% all on my art sales, let's go for it. But yeah, so literally, like I am, yeah, I feel like the ADHD is definitely helping me in this project.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I think what you're doing, I mean, your artwork is amazing, but what you're doing with it, with other people, I think that just sets you a cut above everybody else. That's just an amazing feat to
Well,
do,
let
let
me just
alone,
talk to you about that then. Let me just like tell you a few things about that, because it's been so amazing. Like of course, yeah, this is to help give me exposure as an artist, and also to help my charity. I keep calling it charities, as CIC, Youth Art Connect, and also help all the other charities. But the people that are coming and showing up, I'm seeing people break boundaries every event. Like, I'm seeing people come that have been like, I've been in the house for months, or I've been caring for my mum, and like I've been like, socially anxious, and like I've then helped convince them to come through messaging them, and they've had like an amazing experience, and they've made some friends, they've made loving connections, they've tried things for their mental health. It's just so beautiful to see, and it lights me up.
when you see that, it just helps you to keep going, doesn't it? That's it starts
Yeah.
at one thing, but it becomes something completely different. You know, something more, something bigger than it was originally meant to be, I guess. You know, seeing all
Well,
those people getting something
this is
from it.
like literally, I don't know what these ripples are gonna turn into. Like it's and I don't know what this journey is going to entail for me. Like, I love not knowing. Like, of course, yeah, I've got like ambitions to be one of the most recognized artists in the country, if not the world. I have that ambition, and I want to claim that. But like, I also know that there's going to be so many other things that happen that I might not even know about, that have happened from it. And also there's going to be more opportunities and different twists and turns in my own journey that, who knows what's around the corner tomorrow. And that's what I love. This is an adventure. And I have had a bit of flack for some people online saying, "Oh, I can't believe you're asking for," because I have a GoFundMe, and I do take donations to help me, because I need to eat while I'm doing this. I need to take.
Dodgy connection. So he is gone. It was so good to have Graham on today. What an amazing artist. I'll put all the links to his social media so you can have a look at his art. It is absolutely amazing. So I hope you go and have a look. But always, guys, as always, be good, be kind, and remember, you're not alone. Thank you.